We will just have a small recap of day one, right? So we will see what we did on day one. We will try to, just revise in 5 minutes, right? So we saw what is version control system, correct? As I told, don't Google and try to memorize definitions and try to look up. Try to understand what it is, and then you can come up with your own definition, right? So version control system is simply a tool. You can tell it is a tool used to keep track of versions or changes made to a file, right? So what is distributed version control system? It is the same thing, but you will have multiple users here, multiple users working on a same project. So the whole project is distributed among several users. The aim here is to collaborate and of course to track versions and changes made to the program. Why do we need this? Yeah, I think we missed one more question. First question, why Git, right? Or maybe why version control system, or why distributed version control system? Why, what is the need of all these things, right? It will ultimately improve the efficiency of software development. If you are speaking in terms of programming, it to increase software efficiency of software development. How will it improve the efficiency? I think we discussed, right? So whenever you want to roll back to the previous version, just by a command you can do that, right? And also when several people are working on the same project, it is easier to collaborate rather than having maybe copy pasting code or exchanging code using some external drive. It takes time and it is cumbersome process. Using Git is a very efficient tool, so that is why we make use of Git, right? So just remember one more thing: Git and version control system is not just for programming. It is valid for all kind of files, all files, right? For example, let's take I think Microsoft Word document, correct? So you will write some Word document, right? And once you save the Word document, and you once you save it in Git, it will keep track of changes. So next you will add one more page to the same Word document, and you will save. You will give Git commit, right? So it will get saved. So and if you decide to make some changes in the Word document and again give Git commit, it will get saved. And if you feel like you don't want the changes made, you can roll back. So just by giving one command, it will go to the previous state, previous version, or previous commit. It's one and the same thing. But we use it in software development, specifically in programs. So yeah, Git is a very, very powerful tool, and I feel every developer or every software engineer has to know this tool. Correct. So what is Git? Git is a tool. Again, it is a tool used. It is used to keep track of changes, and also it is a tool which helps in collaboration, which uses version control system and the distributed version control system. Very simple terms. I have not looked up definitions in Google and things like that, but just try to understand and come up with your own definitions so that you will never forget it. Uses of Git and we saw, right? I think here also we discussed now, to keep track of changes, to collaborate with multiple developers, to analyze how program, to analyze how program has developed, right? So there are multiple uses of Git. So I think this I had asked you to do it, download and install Git. Correct. We also discussed difference between Git and GitHub. Very important topic, because this is, if you mention Git and GitHub in your resume, this is the first question you can expect. So we will see the difference again, which is because it is very important. I think you might have done all these two steps. If you have not done, don't worry. It is very simple. I'll show you. But if you have done and tried few things, well and good. Okay. Yeah. Uh, you can make a note of this. If you've already made a note of this, good. So as we discussed, Git is a tool, just a tool. So using Git and yeah, Git and GitHub are not the same. Just remember one thing. The difference between Git and GitHub is the same as the difference between car and carpet, right? Car and carpet are entirely two different things. There is no relation. Exactly, Git and GitHub are two different things. Just remember, you can use Git without GitHub also. Git is simply a local tool. Local local means it is installed in your system, in your laptop or computer, right? It is a local tool. So using Git, you can. There are other service providers like GitHub. There is something called Atlassian, Bitbucket, right? Atlassian, Bitbucket. Then Microsoft has one more thing called Azure. In the same way, I think these are all paid. This GitHub is a free version, right? So what is GitHub? GitHub is a remote. So remember this thing. What is Git? Git is a local tool. Two important keywords: local tool. What is GitHub? GitHub is a remote repository. Okay, I'm sorry. GitHub is a remote repository. Why GitHub is used? To keep your code safe, to keep your code in, to back up your code. GitHub is a service. So using Git, you can push the code to um, the cloud, which is nothing but GitHub remote repository. So even if the code is lost in your computer, the code can be still found in GitHub. Right, I think we saw all the differences. You can just go through once very quickly. Uh, just be very clear with these differences. If you have doubt, please ask right away. Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming you guys don't have any doubts, right? We will move on to next topic. Okay. Yeah, today we will keep it very simple. I know there was a little bit glitch. So what we are going to do today is we are going to look at Git tool in local system. What is Git, and we will see how it is, what is the use, and how to create. One more thing is Git repository. On the first day, I told you the meaning of repository. When you hear the term repository, two things should come to your mind. One is it has, I am talking solely on the grounds of software development, right? Software development related to programming. So when you hear the term repository, it should have source code, and it should also have changes. Should also have changes or versions. So when you speak about Git repository is same, is nothing but it will also have source code along with it. Git will manage this for you. There is a hidden folder called .git. I will show you. So Git will manage changes, versions, um, and push, pull, all those things. It will manage for you. You can only concentrate on your source code. So we will see how to create Git repository, and we will see some demos. Okay, so first is we will create mm, repository. So if you have Git in your system, you can do it side by side. Yeah, okay. So just create a folder, new folder, empty folder. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a file, document. I will call this calculator.txt. So you can, I'm not sure which language, programming language you're familiar with. So I am just keeping it very generic here. You can use any of the programming language, but try to write a calculator program. So there is a main method here. Okay. So first we will have a simple function called add. For now, this will return int. It will take two numbers. And whenever you are naming some variable or functions, please make sure it has some meaning. Just don't give x or y or z. So your variables should be self-explanatory. Num1 plus num2, right? So we have this now. So I want, so this is just a folder. Inside the folder, see, I have Git training. Inside the folder, I have this text file. So just for a demo perspective, this is not any language, but just an algorithm. You can write in your own, if you're comfortable Java or Python, you can use any language. So now we have to make this a Git repository, correct? So what we are going to do is, you click on this toolbar, you type cmd here. So this will open, right? So this will open command prompt for you. So only if Git is installed, this will work. So let me just show you how to install Git as well, right? Install, yeah, yeah. So based on your platform, you just click on Windows here or any other platform and go for, yeah, I think it is already started downloading. Since I have it, I'm canceling it. So once it is downloaded, you can install it. It is very simple installation, right? And once it is installed, you can open command prompt here. So you have to type cmd and the command prompt is open. So how to check whether Git is installed or not? Just type Git. So if you see this, Git is installed and working properly. You can already see many options here, many Git commands and all this. So it is very clear here. Start a working area, right? So we will use this command init. It creates an empty Git repository, right? So that's what we want to do. We will simply give Git init. You can make a note of all the commands which we are using. It will be by the end of the course, it will be a lot of commands. So Git init, enter. Can you see this now? .git. This is the thing I was talking about. So now .git. It now .git will track all the changes and versions for us. So it is generally a hidden folder. If you can't see it, that's okay. If hidden folder is not enabled in your laptop, you will not be able to see it. No problem. But make sure you get this message: initialized empty Git repository. Right. So if you go inside, you will see few things here, which we don't have to look into. But if you are curious enough, you can Google all these things. Right. So our Git repository is up and running. Now what we next we will do is we will give Git status. Right. So if you give Git status, it will see what is the status of current repository. It is telling that no, you don't have to rename repository. So we are now today we will not talk about GitHub. We will see all how it functions in local and what are the uses. Even though for this you don't need internet connection also. This is completely local, right? So today we will just see about Git and how. So if you ask me, you should use Git in all of your projects, or if you are writing any program, you should make use of Git, right? So this doesn't need any internet connection. We will see only Git today, and we will see how to connect it to GitHub in the next session. So that is a little bit advanced. So we will just go step by step. So if you give Git status, you can see untracked files. Correct. So what it is telling is, boss, I know you have set up Git repository, but I am not tracking any files. I am not tracking changes or anything yet. So you have to use Git add. We are telling Git, I am adding this file. Which file we want to track? We want to track calculator.txt. We are adding it to the Git. So now if you give Git status, you can see new file. Correct. So now it says that, yeah, I can identify a new file, which is calculator.txt. So now after this, you should commit it. Commit it means you're saving the version there. So this is a let us call this as version 1. So I will say git commit and message -m space, and we have to give some message. I will let me call it as add method, add function added. Right. So we just added add function. Enter. Created. So add function is added now. Okay. So there is one concept hidden behind all these things. So what we did first step is git init. What is the second step? Git status. So git status will give the status of repository. So uh, from now on, I will refer repository as repo. After seeing the status, you will see some untracked files. So next you have to add it. So that is git add. I'm telling boss, I want to add this file to the Git repository. So you're telling I want Git to track this file for me. Yeah, Git add means we are adding it to the local repository. Correct. So there is something called staging area. I will show that in a second. Git add and along with the file name with extension also. Git commit means git commit minus m. Here you have to write commit message. So what this will do, this will save the version. So these are the steps. Now there is a concept, right? So this is your working directory. So what is, yeah, I think you heard a new term here, working directory. So what is working directory here? My working directory is Git training, right? So working directory, there is a space called staging area. You make a note of this is very important. So only if you understand this fund, see if you go to Google or YouTube, you can find out all these things in 5 minutes, but what is happening internally, that you have to understand. So you are giving Git init, Git add and commit, it is happening. You this is just a 5 minutes job, but how this is working internally, that you have to understand. So if you understand all these fundamental concepts, then working with Git will be very simple. So just remember one thing, you will be using Git for the rest of your life. But trust me, no matter if you go to development role or testing role or operations role, any engineering role, software engineering, you will be using Git for your rest of your life, rest of your career. So that this is very important. Working directory, staging area, right? So this is Git. This is GitHub. The GitHub or remote repo. So what happens is, so first what I did, I created a file called calculator.txt. Correct. I wrote some stuff in it, some sample text in it, some function. What I did first step was to get status, get init. So this will become along the working directory will become our Git repository, local repository, because it has our source code. Along with this, it has the capability of tracking the code. Two functionalities it is there, so we can call this Git repository, local repository, right? Git local repository. So once you give Git add, Git status is just to check the status. You can give it anytime whenever you want, but functionality wise, first thing is Git add. Once you give Git add and along with the files, this will go to the staging area. What is staging area? We will see it, right? So if you give Git add, now calculator.txt is present here. Staging area is just to confirm. It is just a confirm, like a confirmation message. It is just we are ensuring what all you want to commit, what all you want to save, and if you want to push it to GitHub, right? So let's say we have multiple file calculator. We have the other one is cal1, we have cal2, we have. If we give git add cal1, sorry, cal txt and cal1 txt, so it will come here. Now this file is not tracked because if we feel like we don't have to track, if we don't want to track this file, we can ignore this. So these two file is in the staging area. So we are so it will show like this. We are confirming there is a new file which is calculator.txt. Correct. It is staged now. So once you give after once you give git add, so it is we call it as staged. Cal1 and cal2 both files are important term. Staged means we are confirming. So let's say you added one more file by mistake. You give cal1 cal2 cal1 cal2 also, but you don't want to track this by mistake. You give this, so it will show these are the files added to staged. You want to try. Now you can say that, oh yeah, I think cal2 is not required. So then you can remove this from the staging area. And how to remove it from the staging area? Git rm, git rm and file name. We will see that also, but for now we will see how to commit it. So after files are staged, it is the next step is to commit it. Git commit. So once you give git commit, the files are saved state. The version or the version is saved. Whatever you changes you made or new file you added, everything is saved. Yeah, very good question, Sukesh. After add function, if I delete my original file, can I get the file again from Git local repository? This is exactly why we use Git. You can get it. Okay, so we will see how to get it. Uh, Correct. So if you delete the file itself using Git repository, you can get it back. Okay, I will show you how. Now after Git commit, there is one more. This is till here it is all local. Means it happens in your laptop. Now after Git commit, there is one more command called Git Push. If you give this, it will go to your GitHub account. So we will see this in the next session. Let's concentrate on this. Here we have several commands I will show you. So the first command which we learned is Git Init, Git Status, Git Add and file names, and Git Commit. Okay, let's go back to here, our working area. We will add one more file. Let's say this is cal1.txt. All right, let's now maybe we can call this as subtraction, right? Okay, now I have added one more file. What is the first step? I will see Git status. What is the status of my repository? It says that, oh, there is one file which is not tracking. Oh yeah, the next step is to add the file. Git add sub.txt. Now the file is staged. After so after add git add, the file is staged. Again, you can see the status. If you see the status, it it shows that there is a new file. Okay, so if you want to um, remove it, or if you want to unstage it, you can give git rm or restore. So the next thing is git commit. So what we need to do, so commit message should be something which you changed. So what would we do here? We added one more function, one more file called sub.txt, which is to handle the subtraction function. So added, let's say added subtraction functionality. Okay, now it added. So now there is, okay, I got it. So there is one more command called git log. We will make a note of all commands which we are learning today. Git log. If you give git log, you will see all the commits you made. So you can easily find out what we did to the software. First we added first we added fu- add functionality, add function added. So it also has author name, who is the author. It has something called commit sha. Okay, and we also have date and when was this commit made. So all the functionalities, if you have it, it is easier to track. Correct. So sha is nothing but it is a code. It is actually secure hash algorithm. So it is a unique code for each commit. So there is one more command, git log option. This is called option whenever you are giving. So this is called command. Git log is a command. Along with this command, I have an option called one line. What it will do is it will show all your commits in a single line. So it is easier to read. Add function added, added subtraction functionality. Right. So we will modify something and see how it reacts. Calculate, right? So what we'll do is we will take out, okay, we will add subtraction function here. We are calling the function, okay, and we will create one more file. Yeah, I'm also see, I made a mistake here. I'm also modifying the sum to difference. So we changed a lot of things from the previous commit, right? We added one more function, we changed, modified few things. Now we will see and see the status. See what it is telling. We modified two files. We added one more file. Correct. So now we will push this into the staging area. Git add, and if if you want to add all the files, you can give this just a full stop. So this will add all the files. So whenever you are committing, whenever you're committing or adding, you can give this instead of giving all the file name. You can simply give git add full stop. So this will add all the files. Now if you give git status, sorry, yeah. So all the changes are in staging area. It is ready to be saved. It is ready to commit. We modified this. We added a new file. We modified this. Git commit message added multiple multiply function, and what was the other change? We maybe No, no, you have to be very specific about commit messages. But yeah, we for this we'll keep it generic. Modified uh, calcul calculator file. So this is for your reference whenever you go back and see, because software, when you build a software, it will typically have maybe 15-20 files along with thousands of lines. It will take a minimum 20 days to 1 month. So you so if you go back and see all your commits, you should understand what you did in that commit. What was the new thing you introduced? So if I give git log now, one line, yeah, first I add, then subtraction, then I added multiply, and I also modified this file. Yeah, modified calculate main file. Okay, so till here, any doubts? Concept wise, are you clear in the concept wise? This is your working directory, which is nothing but your Git repository. There is a staging area. Once you give Git add, it will go to staging area. Once once it is in the staging area, then if you give git commit, then you can tell it is staged. You then the file changes are saved. If you just give git add, and if you don't give git commit, your changes are lost. So you cannot your changes are not saved in git. So we can typically tell this as versions, right? So we can tell this is first version, this is second version, this is third version. Okay, so we will see one more git function, sorry, command called Git Restore. Right, I gave Git Restore. Let's see what happened here. So see, I don't see any changes, but see, if you get stuck, there is an option called Git Help. So if you give Git Help, there are many things here. Okay, so before that, we will make some changes here. Multiply. Will give return prod. Okay. Now we will say Git status. Yeah. So this is where you give. If you want to roll back at this stage, if you give Git restore. Okay. Now whatever changes we made is rolled back. Okay, I will show you again. What was the other thing? Git restore and file name. So when git restore is used, before staging. Okay, so I will tell you the scenario where you use this. So let's say this is working fine. This software is absolutely working fine. Our calculator is working fine, and we will try to implement one more feature. Okay, so we will try to implement one more feature, which is, or yeah, one more feature. So in this file, we will try to add something, some function called handle error, right? So we write a function to handle error, and write some logic here, and we make some changes here. We add something here. We also make a lot of changes here, right? And here also, yeah, here, and in this file also we make some changes. Okay, right? So after all these things, then we realize that our software is not working fine, and I want to go to the previous version to just ensure that it is working fine. So what we will do, instead of removing all the changes we made, or maybe we changed few variable names also, right? Let's add some few things, and we decide that yeah, this is not working fine and we want to go to the previous version. So one thing is, you can manually remove everything and see what are the changes you made, and remove all the changes and from all the files, which is very time consuming, correct? You can say that, sir, we can do control Z, right? You can do it, but what if you save the file and close it, close completely, right? If you open this again and control Z doesn't work, there is no undo functionality, correct? In this scenario, what will we do? That is where Git helps us. You go here, you will, let's say, Restore. I want to restore all the files, all the changes made in all the files. For that I will use full stop. You give this command, and before that, let's see what is the status. It clearly tells that we have modified few things. I want to discard it because it is not working fine. Git restore full stop. Okay, now if you see this, it is rolled back to the previous version. All the changes we made is erased. Now we came back to the working code. Okay, here also the changes is lost. So this functionality is clear. So when do we have to, when should we use git restore? Before staging, that is before adding or before committing. When will you add to the staging area? Whenever you feel the program is working fine, it is working well, and you feel it is in a stage to commit, it is in a stage to uh, have a new version, right? That is when you add to the staging area. You confirm, you verify all the things here, then you give git commit, and the version is saved. So this is when git will help. So I know if you are working with programs, you will try some logic, and if there is any program, you will try something to do. If that doesn't work out, you will keep on pressing control Z, and it is very cumbersome process. So if you use git, you know how to do it. It is just a single command. Git restore will come back to the working code. Okay. So Git Restore, we saw 6 important Git commands here, right? Okay, so let us see if there are any other Git important functionalities which we left. Yeah, I think this is it. So tomorrow what you do is, so yeah, and then tomorrow please create GitHub account. So we will push our code to GitHub account and see how things work in remote repositories. So tomorrow we will also learn few things like Git Restore, right? So we will, where is it? Yeah. So if I give Git Log one line, so there are many logs. So let's say now you are here in this version, you want to go back to version 1. How do we do this, right? So this is this is something I want you to explore. It is called Git Restore Reset. This is your assignment for the day. I want you to explore this. Let's see how you do it. Now I am in this version, and I want to go back to this version, which is if I just by giving one command, I want the both the files which are created after this function, this version has to be deleted. It should roll back to the first version. So how do you do this? One close it is git reset, but in this there are many options like soft reset, hard reset, and there are even other ways to do it. I want you to do little Google and see and figure out things, and try to find out, and I will ask you in the next session, right? If you cannot find out, that's okay, we will discuss it. But till now these are the things we discussed. Just make sure you play around with this, you see how things work, you just try to play around with this and explore all the functionalities, right? You try to do commit before adding it, you see what happens. You try to uh, give git add without git init, see what is the error it throws. Because when you see all the errors, what kind of errors you get for what operations, whenever you are doing whenever you are working on a bigger project, you are already familiar with all the error types. So if you face if you find, if you get a new error which you have already dealt with, then you know how to how to fix it, right? So play around with all these things till now. Any question, any doubt? Okay, okay, right. So yeah, we will end the class for today. Thank you so much for attending. We see you tomorrow. Yeah, bye bye.